Hi, I'm your host, Megalon Jones, and welcome to a single player after action report for Combat Mission Black Sea. This is the Into the Breach scenario, which shifts with the game. Right now, the Russian ground forces are dumping massive amounts of high explosives on likely ingress routes from my friendly forces, which have suggested that I take an ambush position in Objective Tomahawk across the river. Now, fortunately for me, I never had any intention of doing anything like that. As of 6:45 in the morning, a Russian motor rifle battalion has crossed the Dnieper River in an attempt to disrupt NATO interior lines of communications. Now, higher HQ has tasked the 2nd Cavalry Division to stop, or at the very least stall, the Russian advance, and if at all possible, take up some strategic positions. I've been given Comanche Troop, Eagle Squadron, which consists of 1st and 2nd Platoon, which are currently on the map. We also have the company HQ with a JTAC, which will be arriving shortly, along with Manpad Stingers. We have the usual battalion support, including mortars, artillery, and UAV. The battlefield itself is filled with lots of micro terrain and short line of sights. This is due to hills, forests, and very tall wild grasses, which makes it hard for me to see more than a couple hundred meters in any direction. This makes me upset because the United States likes long sights of advance in which you can use air power and artillery. This means that any type of fighting is going to be real up close and personal. Of course, this cuts both ways. The Russian ground forces are a modern military themselves, and they have at least the same limitations as my own current force. It's going to be really hard for them to see anything beyond their start off position. They're not going to be able to tell what's going on until they get across the river, at which point I've set up a lot of anti-armor ambushes. Scenario kicks off, and I split off 1st and 2nd platoons into their respective kill zones. This ought to be an interesting scenario because it's purely a light infantry force versus a combined arms Russian force, including T-90 main battle tanks and the BTR-82s. I picked this mission specifically because it seemed like sort of a alternate future history version of the game we're about to get, Combat Mission Cold War, in which, in our current scenario, the 2nd Cavalry Division would be performing the tasks of the 1980s 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment. That's Russian infantry, and now it's time to talk about the opposition. The 20th Motor Rifle Battalion expects to put forward 2 motor rifle companies backed up by T-90 main battle tanks, artillery, and air support. Here's the initial battlefield setup. I've got the yellow areas, which are my expected ambush. 1st platoon is set up along a tree line and behind a reverse slope hill. 2nd platoon is spread out but in a very good position. 1st platoon makes initial contact, and because of the shortened line of sight, it's everything at once. To make matters worse, the Russians have dismounted their infantry farther away from my position than I would have liked. I only have so many javelins, and the AT-4s aren't going to be exactly effective at 300, 400 meters. I don't have much of a choice. I've got to open fire because they're getting awfully close. The first few volleys of Javelin and AT-4s isn't a total disaster. We're able to put some big holes in targets. As of right now, I'm just looking at the BTRs. Unfortunately, we lose a Javelin team immediately. This is going to be the story of this scenario. We're forced to engage in places I don't want to, which allow the Russians to respond. So we get like a 1-to-1 kill ratio on the Javelins versus armored targets, which is less than ideal. Now fired off 2 Javelins. And have a second Javelin team wrecked. Back at the reverse slope position of 1st Platoon, we're going to have to move our troops into position to offer some sort of L-shaped ambush. 40mm grenade launchers are great at halting the Russian infantry. And everything looks peachy right up until their armor appears. Simultaneously, on my left flank, the Russians open up by crossing the bridge with a force of BTR-82s. This ambush, on the other hand, goes extraordinarily well. There's no dismount. This is exactly what I wanted to see. I wanted to kill the Russian infantry in their APCs, not have to fight them out in the open. The 50 cal and 40mm striker variants are exceptional at putting big holes in lightly armored vehicles, and this engagement is pretty much over within a minute and a half. As of right now, 1st Platoon has exactly one operational Javelin team, and they're moving around the map trying to find the best positions to kill advancing Russian tanks. In this situation, you can't miss, and they just did. T-90s are smashing up my strikers. We are able to put a little bit of hurt on the Russians here with a long shot from a AT-4. But there's simply too many Russian tanks to take into account when they start to blow past 1st Platoon. We're now in big time trouble. Okay, now we have Russians pushing towards the center of the map from the right-hand corner. My only option here is to redeploy AT assets along these tree lines in an attempt to create a anti-tank alleyway in which we can perhaps lure them into for some close range ambushes. The situation on the left is completely in hand, while the situation on the right has gone completely out of hand. Those of you that think the Javelin is some sort of wonder weapon, I mean, it is good, but I had more than a couple Javelins hit Russian tanks and they just shrugged it off. You don't see that in Syria. AT Alley ends up being a success, although it's costly. At the same time, age 64s are beginning to attack what I suspect are second echelon Russian forces. And there are a number of missile strikes. The fighting at AT Alley has become just pretty chaotic with what could be described as microcosms of meeting engagements. These are snapshots. Here we have the 40 millimeter striker successfully disabling a Russian tank at close range. However, he's stuck, which makes him a target for the next tank. I got 2 more javelins left and 2 more tanks. Both appear damaged. That's another shrug off on a javelin, so I let loose with the last one I got, and still no penetration. Or it penetrated, it didn't kill it. That's when I pull the plug on the scenario. First platoon is wasted, and second platoon is out of AT assets, so we end up with a draw. There's no winner. Looking at the battlefield, we got hurt. I think I hurt the Russians more, but the uncomfortable fact is I'm in no position to move forward to Objective Tomahawk. They have a command group and something you can't see right now, but another platoon of BTRs to the left of the screen. As we go back towards first platoon's engagement area, I think what helped me out or what saved my bacon were those Apache helicopters. They were able to zap a couple tanks that I hadn't seen yet, including this guy who was trying to ford the river. That would have pretty much done me in if they'd been able to arrive into my position without being impeded. So I had a lot of fun playing this mission. I didn't win. I didn't lose. Neither one of us are really in any position to go forward. You can see the results of the fighting on the lower left here. Um, yeah, and I'll be keeping in touch with you guys and doing some more combat mission. I think my next video is going to be another IL-2 sortie, but I'm keeping my eyes on the battlefield forums for the release of Cold War and the upcoming Russian add-on for Red Thunder. I'm looking forward to both of those, and there will be videos for both of them as soon as they're released. So until next time, enjoy, and I'll talk to you later.
Pretty, isn't it? The beaches of LA, playground of America. Until this beach turned into a living nightmare.
You said creature. Why did you use that word?
I don't know. What would you call it?
Blood Beach, man.
Yeah, right on.
Blood Beach.
The beach is a weird beat for us cops. You've got the kids, the old people, the street fiddlers, those singles, the crazies all lost in their own world. There was every form of human life on this beach.
Madras Bermudas, bleeding madras. They were kind of old, but, you know, they were his favorite pair. They were still in good condition.
But under the beach, there was this, I don't know, this horrible thing. And we still haven't figured it out.
What the hell are we looking for?
I don't know. But maybe if we dig deep enough, we'll find out.
We police always look for the obvious, but this wasn't normal. Nah, not even for California.
figure that there's been considerable brain damage.
How considerable?
Vegetable soup.
When something like this is chasing you, you hope you find it before it finds you.
If it's human, or even if it's animal, it's got to have a place to go back to.
Kind of sad the way things have changed, huh, Mr. Selden?
If there was any hope, we didn't have it. We didn't know a damn thing.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, you can't get to it.
There comes a time when you throw out all the rules and you make your move. Blood Beach? It's an okay place to visit, but I wouldn't want to die there.
Blood Beach. David Huffman, Mariana Hill, John Saxon, and Burt Young as Lieutenant Boyko. Blood Beach, where the water may be the safest place to be.